How much is too much? Hey everyone, Marty here. Welcome to another edition of 101 Insider Energy Performance and Weight Loss Tips. And today I have a new video for you about how much you should train. How much volume should you do for every unretired former athlete? I think there's a big difference there between a former athlete who's sitting around saying, "I'm retired," and the way that they act versus somebody that's like, I might not be playing my sport anymore, but I am officially unretired. I'm out there doing something. And you really want to show up for those who matter the most to you, and as well as impress other people with how much you can do and how much stuff you can get done. And you want to do so without having to sit out on the bench with an injury. So here's the deal. I was training with my buddy yesterday in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he ended it with like, "Do you think I'm doing too much? Like, I train an awful lot." And he was like, I'm doing jiu-jitsu like 9 times a week at least. And he's like, I'm just like not happy with the way that I feel and the way my body looks, et cetera, et cetera. So here's the scoop, and here's what I'd say. I did quite a bit of thinking about this last night. So tip number 1, know your goal. Know your goal and shut your mouth. Okay, just that's enough of the rock for today. But whether you're doing fat loss or muscle endurance or growth or power, those are all going to come with like specific details on how much that you should be training, what the volume is, how much you actually do versus the intensity. And my question would be, are you eating, training, and sleeping for that? Because it's going to be different every time. And then also there's this big long word I'm going to scare you with called periodization. And it should last for about 3 weeks. And then you should basically just shake up the way you're doing. So if you're in fat loss for 3 weeks, and that's 3 weeks, you're going to focus on muscle endurance. And then you're going to do that for 3 weeks. And then you go to something else. So... And another determining factor here is like, are you actually training to compete? And how far away are you from the competition? The further away from competition you are, you want to be training higher volume and lower intensity. And the closer you get, you want to be training lower volume but a higher intensity. So tip number 2, shaking things up does not take your identity away from what it is that you're doing. So, what do I mean by that? I mean, don't let your sport be all that you do. Because, like, if we're just sticking with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu example, you really need to pay attention to what your body's telling you. If you're waking up every day and you're, especially in your during my early 20s, I was fat, so I don't know. But if I had to go back and just look at myself versus mid to late 20s versus now, there's definitely a difference on how much I can do and how much I can get away with. And if your body's like short circuiting and you're like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to be like in 10 years. Will I be able to walk? If you find yourself saying those types of questions, it's time that you analyze this, because it is very easy to overdo something you love. I mean, let's face it, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, all this other stuff, very addictive to me. So it's like, you do that over and over again, but through repetitive motions cause injuries, and you just need to shake things up. And that's why you see football players taking ballet and doing that sort of thing. So having the mindset that training in other things and other modes or modalities, if we're being extremely technical here, but other modes will level up your sport. And so tip number 3, keep track of time. You really need to come to the understanding that there's no such thing as unplanned workouts. Don't spend all your time while you're training playing or performing or rolling, if you will, if we're talking about jiu-jitsu, because it feels good. That's the fun part for most people, is getting in there and wrestling and trying to get the tap, trying to submit other people, trying to pull off the next cool move. But if you spend all your time doing that, you start to develop these bad habits, and you really are not getting better. And let's face it, like after a while of rolling in jiu-jitsu, it's not like you have to be going full clip or with as much intensity as you would be if you were really pushing yourself with a workout, because there are positions where you can be sort of lazy and take a break and buy you some time to get your breath back, whereas you really wouldn't do that if you were working out with the intensity that it would take to induce something like fat loss or muscle growth specifically. So don't be afraid to get in the weight room and do something different, and keep track of your time while training, and focus on drilling and putting in quality reps, because that's what's going to actually give you the unfair advantage. So here are the main points I'd like for you to take away from this video. Know your goal and know how far away your competition is, if there is one. Don't be afraid to shake things up and do things differently, and keep track of your time while training. Because the big point here is that you can show up with a ton of energy and perform for those who matter the most to you without risking serious injury and having to sit on the bench. So if you're serious about learning out more about this, then I'd like to invite you to join the Energy Performance and Weight Loss Jumpstart group, and I'll see you there. Bye, everyone.